Hello children, how are you all? I hope you all are fit and fine at home. I welcome you all to today's English class. Students, we had started the pleasure reading of the story Heidi at Grandfather's in the previous session. Today, we are going to continue our story. I'm sure you would remember that the story we are going to read is an extract from the classic Heidi by Johanna Spyri. It is about a little girl who settles with her grandfather and the changes she brings about in him. So children, before we continue our story, let's have a quick recap of what we have read till now. Heidi at Grandfather's. It is a story of a little 5-year-old girl. In fact, 5-year-old orphaned girl. She's taken by Aunt Date to live with her grandfather, who lives in the Swiss mountains, almost like a hermit. I'm sure you would remember what is a hermit. Yes, a person who lives generally alone, like a saint, or you can say a sage. As the girl Heidi, she reaches his place, he continues to blow great clouds of smoke from his pipe, and asks her, what did she want? Like a curious girl, she expresses her desire to see what was there inside the hut of the grandfather. He takes her inside, and while they were going, he suggests her to bring her bundle of clothes. To which she answers that she wishes to run freely as goats do. Then both of them get inside the hut, which was a large room. There was a table and a chair and a bed in one corner of the room. A huge pot was hung on the stove in another corner of the room. And children, also there was a cupboard in one wall of the room. As the grandfather opened its door, Heidi, she saw his clothes hanging in it. So, children, what else was there? What was Heidi's reaction on looking at the room? Yes, we will have to read further to know about it. So, let's get started. The hut was a large room from inside. There was a table and a chair and a bed in one corner. In another, she saw a stove over which a huge pot was hung. There was a door in one wall that the old man opened, and she saw it was a large cupboard with his clothes hanging in it. There were several shelves in it too, on which were kept his shirts, socks, handkerchiefs, and another held the plates, cups and glasses, while on the top was a round loaf, some meat and cheese. Heidi placed her bundle on the lower shelf. Then she turned to her grandfather to inquire, "Where shall I sleep, grandfather?" Okay. So children, we had read what all was there inside the room. It was a large room. There were clothes hanging in it. There was a table, a chair, and a bed in one corner. Next, there were shelves in it too, on which were kept shirts, socks, handkerchiefs, and another held the plates, cups and glasses, while on the top was a round loaf, some meat and cheese. So children, while we are reading, we have to see that this is quite a long sentence. Wherever there are commas, we have to give pauses, right? So in the cupboard, she saw the clothes hanging, and then there were shelves in the cupboard. Like you also must have seen the cupboards. Generally, there are shelves in the cupboard. On one of the shelves, what was kept? His clothes were kept. That is his shirts, socks, handkerchiefs. Right? Then on another shelf, what was kept? The plates, cups and glasses. Right? The crockery items, the things that are used in the kitchen. Plates, cups and glasses. While on the top was a round loaf, some meat and cheese. Now on the top shelf there were eatables, things that are there to eat. There was a loaf of bread, then some meat was there and cheese was also there. Heidi placed her bundle on the lower shelf. So, which bundle are we talking about here? Yes, bundle of clothes that she had brought with her. Right? So, she placed her bundle of clothes on the lower shelf. Then she turned to her grandfather to inquire, "Where shall I sleep, grandfather?" Then she looked at her grandfather to inquire. Inquire means to ask. Yes, she was new to the place. She did not know where to sleep. So she asked her grandfather, "Where shall I sleep, grandfather?" That where she is going to sleep. Because she was here for some days, so definitely she needed a place in the cupboard to keep her things, to keep her belongings. Also, she needed some place to sleep also. So, that is the reason she is asking her grandfather that where is she going to sleep. "Wherever you please," he replied in a gruff tone. Wherever you please. Wherever means at whatever place you please. You please means you want to. At whatever you place you want to. He replied in a gruff tone. Gruff means rough and low tone. He replied in a rough and low tone that wherever she wanted, she can sleep at that place. She glanced around the room, searching for a good place to sleep. She spotted a ladder propped against the wall near her grandfather's bed. Now, children, the grandfather, he had given the responsibility to Heidi only. Though she was a guest, though she was the granddaughter, and she had come for some time to live with her grandfather. But the choice had been given by the grandfather to the girl to find a place for herself to sleep. She glanced around the room, searching for a good place to sleep. Glanced means, yes, when you take a brief and a hurried, quick look at a place. Whenever you enter a new place, what do? Generally, you take a quick look at the place to get an idea of what the place is, how the place is. Similarly, she glanced around. Glanced means to have a brief and quick look. So she glanced around the room, searching for a good place to sleep. She wanted a nice place to sleep, so she looked around the room. She spotted a ladder propped against the wall near her grandfather's bed. She spotted. Spotted means noticed. Spot something means to notice something. She spotted a ladder that was propped against the wall. Propped means lean against something else. So like this, for example, like this was the wall and the ladder was placed like this. So the ladder was propped against the wall near her grandfather's bed. She noticed that a ladder was there near the grandfather's bed. So she looked at that ladder and at that place. She climbed the ladder and found herself in a hayloft. I shall sleep here, she called down. It is a splendid place. I'm going to make my bed now. But could you please come up to help me? Bring me a sheet also to lie on. Okay, seems like she has found a place for herself. So, she climbed the ladder and found herself in a hayloft. She had noticed that a ladder was kept near her grandfather's bed. She climbed the ladder and found herself in a hayloft. What is a hayloft, children? A hayloft is a loft over a stable that is used for storing hay or straw. That is called a hayloft. And do you know what is a loft? I have told you hayloft is a loft over a stable. But what is a loft? You should know that first. Children, a loft is a room, or you can say a space directly under the roof of a house that is used for maybe living, accommodation, or maybe sometimes for storage. That is called the loft area. You also might be having loft at your home. Yes, loft is the area that is directly under the roof of the house. That is sometimes used for storage. So that was a hay loft. In that area, straw was stored. So as she climbed the ladder, she found herself in a hay loft. I shall sleep here, she called down. She was up, so she told her grandfather who was standing there in the room. She announced that I shall sleep here, that she is going to sleep there. She had found herself a place to sleep. It is a splendid place. Splendid. What does splendid means? Splendid means something that is very impressive, something that is very nice. So that means she had liked that place. That's why she was saying it is a splendid place. Splendid means magnificent, something that is very impressive. I'm going to make my bed now, but could you please come up to help me? She said that it is a very nice place. I have found a good place for myself to sleep in. And now I'm going to make my bed. But she needed the help of the grandfather. So she asked him that could you please come up to help me? Could you please come up? Up means up the ladder to help me. Bring me a sheet also to lie on. Yes, of course, she had found a place to sleep on. But still, you need a sheet to lie on. So she asked him that also while you are coming up, please bring a sheet also for me. All right, answered her grandfather, and he went to the cupboard and searched among his belongings until he found a piece of coarse cloth which he carried up to her. He found she had already made herself a sort of mattress and a pillow of the hay. The thickness of the cloth that he had carried for a sheet made it a good protection against the prickly haystacks. Together, they spread it out and Heidi tucked the ends under the mattress to make it all neat and comfortable. Then she inspected her bed for a moment and said, "We have forgotten something, grandfather. I would need a blanket." "Suppose I haven't got one," mused her grandfather. Okay. So children, she was asking her grandfather to bring a sheet for her. "All right," answered her grandfather, and he went to the cupboard and searched among his belongings until he found a piece of coarse cloth which he carried up to her. So, her grandfather answered her, "All right," and he went to the cupboard. Yes, his belongings, his things, all his possessions were there in the cupboard. So he went to the cupboard and he searched among his belongings. Belonging means, yes, belonging means things or possessions that one has. Until he found a piece of coarse cloth. Coarse means that is rough to touch, which he carried up to her. She was asking for a sheet, so he found a sheet that was made of a coarse, a rough cloth, and he went up to her. He found she had already made herself a sort of mattress and a pillow of the hay. Okay, as he reached there, he saw that she had already made a sort of mattress. Sort of means kind of. Sort of means kind of mattress. Children, what is a mattress? Mattress is a kind of a fabric case that is filled with firm or sometimes soft material that is used to sleep on. So she had already made a kind of a mattress and a pillow of the hay. Generally, fiber or cotton is filled inside the mattress and the pillow. But this little girl, with whatever she had, she just had hay. So she had made mattress and pillow of the hay. I'm sure you would know what is hay. Hay is that straw, or you can say grass that is dried and used as fodder. So she just made a mattress and pillow of the hay, of the straw, of that dried grass. The thickness of the cloth that he had carried for a sheet made it a good protection against the prickly haystacks. Okay, he had carried a rough cloth for her, and the thickness of that cloth made a good protection. Protection means safety or defense against the prickly haystacks. Children, prickly means thorny or something that is rough or spiky, something that has spikes, something that is thorny is prickly. Haystacks means a pile made of hay. So she had made a pillow and mattress of hay. So that means the haystacks. And the haystacks are, yes, they are thorny, they are prickly, they are not soft, they are spiky. So, but the sheet that he had taken, he had carried for her, he kept that sheet on that haystack and it made a protection against the prickly haystacks. Together, they spread it out and Heidi tucked the ends under the mattress to make it all neat and comfortable. Now, together, both of them, they spread out that sheet and Heidi, she tucked. Tucked means folded. Like when you spread a sheet, you fold the ends on the sides of the mattress. In the same way, she tucked the ends under her mattress to make it all neat and comfortable. Comfortable means, yes, something that provides ease and relaxation. So that it is restful for her, it is a cozy place for her. So she neatly tucked although it was a very rough sheet and the place where she was putting it up was again made of prickly haystacks, but she tried her best to make it comfortable. Then she inspected her bed for a moment and said, "We have forgotten something, grandfather. I would need a blanket." Then she inspected. Inspected means, yes, when you look at something very closely, so as to check its condition and find out if there are some shortcoming. Inspection you must be knowing. So that way she inspected, she checked her bed for a moment and said, "We have forgotten something, grandfather." Then she told her grandfather that they had forgotten something. And what was it? "I would need a blanket." Yes, a mattress was there, a pillow was there, and then a sheet was also there. But yes, to cover her body, what did she need? Yes, she needed a blanket. So she said that I would need a blanket. "Suppose I haven't got one," mused her grandfather. Now her grandfather, mused means when you are absorbed in thoughts, when you think about something carefully and for a long duration of time. So he was thinking. What was he thinking? And that was he actually having a blanket or not? Because he was living there all alone. Was there an extra blanket for this little girl Heidi? So then he says, "Suppose I haven't got one." So he asked, what if? Suppose means just think. What if I haven't got a blanket? So, did the grandfather have a blanket? Was there a blanket for this little girl Heidi, 5-year-old girl who had made such a nice bed for herself with all that she had? Was there a blanket for her? How did she sleep, with or without the blanket? Yes, for that we will have to wait till the next session. We'll continue and complete our story in the next session. That's all for today, my dear children. Hope you enjoyed the story as much as I did. See you in the next session. Take good care of yourselves. Bye-bye.